Learning a language is actually very simple, but most people try to do it using the wrong method. They get inspired by watching some online video, then they try to learn the basics. They actually manage to learn something, but after a short period of time, they forget about it. If you want to actually learn a language, you have to make sure you're not doing it for the wrong reasons. Sure, if you learned a hard enough language, it would probably impress a lot of strangers. But if you're a beginner, you should really choose a language that's easy enough for you. This way, you will enjoy learning it and you will maximize your chances of success. Here's a chart of some popular languages ranked by how much time it takes for an English speaker to learn them. If you're not sure what language you should start learning, I would just pick either Spanish, French, or Portuguese. Not only are they the easiest for English speakers, but many countries speak one of these as an official language. However, if you do want to go for a harder language, it is possible as well. Just remember to ask yourself, do I really have the right motivation? For example, wanting to understand anime is not going to motivate you to learn Japanese for more than a day. On the other side, my friends speak Spanish and I want to understand them is a pretty good motivator. So now that you've picked your language, it's time for the next step, which is learning it. Usually, people on the internet will tell you that the fastest method to learn any language is to get a language partner or a friend who's willing to sit down and talk until you start picking up words and sentences. And even if this may be the fastest way, it requires human interaction. So instead, here's a method that you can do all by yourself at home to become fluent in any language you want to learn. The first step is learning the basics. This is actually a very easy step, but many people try to skip it by doing some online lessons. Other people get stuck on watching hundreds of videos about how to learn Korean, none of which include a single word of Korean. But the whole time, all you really had to do was find a beginner textbook for that language that has practice exercises for you to do. It might take you a few weeks to finish the whole thing, but the progress you'll make is insane. You can actually find these books for free by just Googling beginner language you want to learn, textbook PDF. And there you go. You could also go to a library and get a physical book if you prefer. Once you finish the beginner book, it's time to practice listening. You don't even have to worry about speaking right now. Practice listening because now you need to learn what the language actually sounds like. The easiest way to do this is by watching some YouTube videos in that language. The idea behind this is that you're not going to understand everything, but by only looking at the video and using context clues from what you do understand, you will slowly start to understand the language without even realizing. This works especially well because every language only has a few thousand words that are used regularly by people. After a while, you'll start recognizing the same few words and phrases. And you can really choose anything to watch, as long as it's interesting to you. If you put on a video and they're talking too fast, change it because you need to start slow. Write on YouTube the word easy, and you'll find a bunch of videos that you can understand. Automatic captions also help a lot because you can rewind and look up the words you don't know. But whatever you do, do not turn on English subtitles. Many people who try to learn Japanese, for example, watch anime. This is not a bad way to learn Japanese, but if you turn on English subtitles, you will just read the subtitles. And even though you think you're learning Japanese, in a few weeks, you won't remember a word. Only use subtitles in the language you're trying to learn. Now, it's time for the next step, which is speaking practice. To start speaking, just keep watching videos. You pause after each important sentence and repeat it out loud. Try to pretend like you're having a real conversation with a native speaker, and even think of different possible situations where you could use the sentence. Whenever you find a sentence that sounds really useful, write it down in a notebook, so this way you'll remember it. Now, at any point in this entire process, once you feel ready to start speaking, sit down and record yourself talking to a camera, and just talk about your day, stuff you did, stuff you're looking forward to, and even ask a couple questions to the imaginary native speaker on the other side. Later, you can watch the recording back and look up whatever you didn't know how to say. This might look like a lonely way to learn a language, but if you've ever heard someone say they're self-taught, this is exactly what they were doing. And that's all. If you keep reading about the language, watching videos, and talking to a camera for a long enough time, you'll become fluent without ever having to talk to an actual person. So one day in the future, when you'll travel to that country and you'll eventually have to talk to native speakers, you'll be proud about yourself and you'll realize that the whole process of learning the language was kind of easy. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.